I recently finished my first 48-hour fast, and I had never fasted longer than about 26 hours before with my typical OMAD that I would do. Uh, so this was uncharted territory for me, and I want to kind of go through how it all went, what I experienced, and so forth, and maybe that'll help you if you're thinking about fasting or whatever. All right. So the first thing I need to understand, I need to make clear here is that I did it as a water fast. I drank plain water, but just plain water, nothing else, no black coffee, anything like that, no sparkling waters, anything like that. It was just plain water. So for 48 hours, that's all I did. All right. So let's talk about hunger. Did I feel hungry? When did I feel hungry? Well, it did happen a few times. The first time that it happened to me was actually at the 20-hour mark. So I was 20 hours into fasting since the last meal that I had. And it happened again at 24 hours and then at 27 hours. So what exactly happened was I felt hungry a little bit, drink a little bit of water, which I was kind of trying to drink water anyway. And within about 5 minutes or so, uh, it went away. Like I didn't feel hungry anymore. So that's really the extent of the hunger that I felt in 48 hours. After that 27-hour mark, the last, 21 hours, I never felt hungry again. And I think that's kind of interesting. Now, could I have gone past 48 hours? Yes. Could I have tried 72 hours, whatever? Yes, I definitely could have. This is the first time that I've tried doing any more than a typical 24, 26-hour fast, with really is intermittent fasting, right? So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop at 48 hours. And plus, I had a live stream coming up with Johnny that evening, and I just wanted to get to the 48 hours and kind of go from there. All right. So I got to tell you up front here that I did some research about this and knew that it would not be best to just necessarily jump straight back into eating. Now, 48 hours, maybe not that big of a deal. Maybe more like 72 hours would be more of a problem if you just jump straight back in. But from different feedback from different people and so forth, I kind of devised a plan of how I would ease back into it. So, this is what I did. At 48 hours, I had a glass of water mixed with gelatin and some salt, some Redmond's real salt. So it was warm water and salt and then this gelatin, right? Gelatin powder. So I mixed that together and I drank that at 48 hours. I waited about 45 minutes before I ate anything. So I kind of let that settle a bit in my stomach. And then I made two eggs scrambled, a little bit of salt to it. That was it. Um, so that was about 45 minutes later. So now I'm at almost 49 hours at that point, but that's when I had the eggs. Now, I then said, okay, I'm going to wait about an hour, make sure that everything seems to be all right with my gut and I don't start having like bathroom issues, that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to go into my normal meal that I planned that I would eat. And that meal was a 16-ounce New York strip. Um, I usually do fermented foods, so I did a little bit of fermented foods with that. And I thought about it a little bit and I said, I'm not sure if this is really enough food for me, especially since I haven't eaten in 48 hours. So I decided that I would add 2 hot dogs to that. So this is about an hour later now. So we are now talking almost the 50-hour mark. Granted, I had ate the eggs already, so I wasn't really fasted anymore. But this was when I finally had my first true meal. So I had 16-ounce New York strip, 2 hot dogs. I had a little bit of yogurt, cottage cheese, and sauerkraut. That was my fermented food that I dipped my steak into. And again, this was at about 50 hours after I had originally started my fast. And everything seemed to go pretty good. Um, I will say, hour later, I still felt pretty good. Finally, about 2 hours later, I did go to the bathroom. And It wasn't as bad as some people say, like, you just jump back into eating, even if they say they ease in sometimes after a 48, 72 hour fast, they have issues with going to the bathroom. Wasn't that bad. I went to the bathroom. It wasn't maybe as normal as it normally would be, right? So maybe a little bit of loose stool to it, but not too bad. And that was it. That was the only time that I had that happen, and I seemed fine. So let's talk a little bit about during that 48 hours. Did I have any issues like with energy, maybe my electrolytes being off, that kind of stuff? In my particular case, this time, first time I've ever done 48-hour fast, I did not seem to lose any energy. I felt pretty good the entire time. I didn't feel the need to add any salt or any other electrolytes to my water during the fasting time. So I didn't do any of those things, and everything seemed fine. In terms of weight loss, I know looking at the scale, this could be a little bit interesting because you're not eating anything, but you don't know how much of that is true fat loss or anything. But going from Monday morning when I weighed myself, which was actually before my last meal Monday afternoon, before the fast started, and then going to Wednesday morning when I weighed in, when I still had 8 to 10 hours or so of fasting left, I had lost 3 pounds. Okay. That again was technically before the last meal, before the fast started, but I had lost 3 pounds. I did not weigh myself on Tuesday, so I didn't really get a measurement there. Then on Thursday morning, again, it's after the fast had ended and I ate that meal where I had the eggs and then I had the New York strip, the hot dogs with the fermented foods. But going into that Thursday morning, I weighed myself and it was at 4 pounds now lost. So 3 to 4 pounds probably lost during this fast. Question is, how much of that is really fat loss? How much of that is something else? Like, I don't know, maybe water weight or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if I maintain that weight loss, if I go back to eating more normally, which may be 1 or 2 meals a day, or, what I'll see. The other thing I'll say on this is I was thinking I'd go back to a OMAD thing of 1 meal a day. And currently, as I'm recording this video, I am at 24 hours. Yeah, right at 24 hours since I ate that meal of the New York strip and the hot dogs with the fermented food. And so far, I have not felt hungry yet, which is interesting because I'm kind of at the 24-hour point where OMAD makes sense to do my next meal and kind of contemplating whether or not I should eat that next meal, prepare the next meal and eat, or if I should try and do a fast again. Kind of thinking like I don't want to just go crazy into fasting and do another fast right away. But, maybe I do 48-hour fast. Maybe I try a 72-hour fast. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking that maybe it's not a good thing to go and do it right away. I'd like to hear your thoughts, what you think. Is it good to go back to back on fasting, or should I go back for a few days of eating OMAD and so forth before I consider another fast again? What do you think? Do you have any experiences with it? And then the other piece, I guess, that I'd like to hear from you is if you have any experiences with doing a 48, 72-hour fast or whatever that kind of differ from what I saw. I know some people out there will do like black coffee during their fasting as well. It'd be interesting to see what people say about that. I personally don't drink coffee at any time, so it's not something I even thought about doing. I just drank plain water. But then the other thing is, it'd be interesting to hear other people how they have come back from a fast and what they did to re-enter foods, reintroduce foods to your body after you've been on a fast, whether it's 48 hours, 72 hours, 96 or longer, whatever. I'd like to hear and help me with kind of deciding how I want to do my next fast and how long it'll be and what my experiences could be. So I'd like to hear that from you. And go ahead and drop that in the comments. And hopefully, for anybody that's considering doing a fast, that hearing my experience also kind of helps them out with what they might see in doing their first 48-hour fast.